Hi partakers, my name is Amanda, a nutritionist, and welcome to the Your Take Show. For those that are new here, this is a show where we just discuss basically food related challenges and how we can go about them. And yeah, we make this a safe space so each of us can make eating healthy but also fun. So before we get into our show today, which has a lot of action packed, before we get into our show today, let's start by subscribing to my YouTube channel, because there's a lot more content as well on there and you wouldn't want to miss out on it. Anything to do with healthy eating, inspiring each other, encouraging each other. So get down there. The name is Amanda Twebaze Nutritionist. Okay, now that we're done with that, I can let you know on what we're going to expect during the show today. We'll start with the food throne, where we put a food on the throne and then discuss, what are its benefits and how helpful is it? Why should we include it in our diet? Then we'll get into our second segment, which is the discussion room, doing a recap of what has been asked on our Facebook page during the week. And what lessons can we learn from the questions we're asked, because at the end of the day we need to be learning something. Then we'll head into the take of the week, which is the catchiest, the most catchy opinion of the people in the community during the week. And finally, to end, I'll leave you with a wellness quote. On the food throne today we have ginger. Well, now, don't be disappointed. I know all of you know ginger and you're expecting some queer food from maybe India or wherever. But we need to talk about some of these foods as well, because yes, we eat them, but do we really know what they give us? So, ginger has other names. In Africa, we tend to call it tangawizi. It's the commonest name we have around here. So, what does ginger do for us? Ginger has lots of minerals. This very little or small-sized food is packed with lots of minerals. And minerals are especially important for making sure that your hormones are working, for making sure that your enzymes are working, for making sure that digestion takes place, your muscles are moving. So we have lots of minerals. For example, zinc, which is very important during this period because it helps to boost our immunities. We have potassium, phosphorus, magnesium. I could go on and on and on. It just has so many that are really important to make sure that your muscles are working right, your nerves are coordinating well, but also your immunity is being boosted. And its most important quality is it's anti-inflammatory, which means it helps us to fight against inflammation that comes in when we are trying to fight off disease. It's also antibacterial, antimicrobial, so it fights, it works against bacteria, which is all around us. This is going to be very important for everyone. If you don't have ginger in your home, please include it in your shopping list the next time you're passing by the market. How can we use it? In simple plain tea, black tea. You could use it in milk tea, African tea, all the teas that you would prefer to have. You can just add ginger to give it more spice. You could also use it in juice. Just blend it together with all your other ingredients, for example, fruits or vegetables, and drink that. We can also use it for cooking. It really gives food a good twist and good flavor, so use it for cooking as well to make sure that your food tastes much nicer, much better. Yes, we have given ginger enough throne time. Now let's get into our discussion room. Our first question was coming in from an anonymous person who was asking, are hemp seeds good for reducing bad cholesterol? Yes, they definitely are, and we discussed this in detail on the Facebook page. But what lessons are we learning from this question? We're learning that nuts and seeds, which most of us tend to ignore or think are pastimes for when we go and visit and have an offered evening tea, are actually as essential or as important as your fruits and vegetables. Remember, we said fruits and vegetables should be an integral part or integrated into all your meals, because they have great immune boosting qualities. They also have lots of vitamin and lots of minerals as well. They also have lots of fiber, which is a magic nutrient. So when it comes to also our nuts and seeds, they're very, very important because they have a lot more essential oils, which is the good fat, and then they also have a lot of minerals, which are very, very important in our body systems. Yeah, so nuts are not supposed to be ignored. We should actually take them as seriously as we take our fruits and vegetables, as seriously as we take our chicken, our meat, and as seriously as we take our rice and posho. All right. we go to the second question that was coming in from Florence. She says she's 20 years old, she's pregnant, and this is her first pregnancy. She really doesn't know where to start from when it comes to eating. What could she eat? We also explained further on our Facebook page, but what lessons are we learning from Florence's question? Now, when it comes to pregnancy, this is a very, it's tricky because people use the excuse of, I'm not eating for one, to eat quite a lot, and that brings in sometimes there's excess weight which would have been avoided really. Sometimes there's also maybe excess nutrients that you're giving yourself that actually may turn out to be toxic for you at the end of the day. So what do we learn when we're eating during pregnancy? Let's eat for 2 people. That's okay, which means you're eating more than the normal or more than a person that's not pregnant. That's okay. But let's not eat for 40 people. Eat for 2, which means, yes, increase your amounts, and you don't have to have heaps of food all the time you're eating when you're pregnant. Actually, the best way to eat is always have small-sized meals, but eat frequently. So instead of eating maybe like 3 main meals like other normal people who are not pregnant, you're probably eating 6 times, you're probably eating 7 times, but you're eating smaller sized foods, but frequently. So you're able to keep up with providing the essential nutrients for both you and your baby's development, but then you are not getting hungry at the same time, because there are so many food demands during pregnancy, so you can easily get hungry. But also it really helps to make sure that nutrients are being released steadily and at a good speed, so that you're not just dealing with excess of nutrients and packing the body with food that it doesn't need. So let's eat for 2 instead of eating for 40 people. You don't need that. Then we go on to our third question coming in from Emily Lucky, and she was saying she has a problem. Every time she eats food, she has lots of gas. Yes, she has ulcers, that's what she was telling us, but she's wondering, because she's scared to eat now, she doesn't know what to eat anymore. What can she eat? We discussed that as well, but what lessons can we learn from Emily's question? Food etiquette is really important when it comes to being bloated and gassy, if you want to avoid that. Food etiquette means there are principles of how you should eat, when you should eat, why you should eat, what posture. Some of these include the posture that you're sitting. People that slouch when they're eating will definitely have issues with digestion, and therefore more gas might be a problem for you. How many times do we actually let ourselves go to the toilet? I know people think you only go when the need arises, but you're supposed to train yourself. We have talked about this before. Train yourself so that even when you don't feel the need to go to the loo, go and sit there every morning, or go and sit there every evening. Spend me time, about a few minutes me time in the loo, just to make sure that your body gets trained to actually always release any excess waste that needs to come out, because gas is excess waste that's trying to get out of your body system. So food etiquette is really important. Eat on time, sit upright when you're eating. Don't go and lie down immediately after eating. That's a terrible practice. And then also make sure that you have routine toilet moments, if I could say, me moments, if I could call them that. Yes, what else can we learn from her question is that of course, you're going to get gas because those are byproducts of digestion and all the other processes that happen in our body systems. But we need to also aid this digestion so it can happen smoothly or swiftly, and therefore it means we can use assistant foods, some of which include herbal teas, and we talked about that. Things like peppermint tea, things like mint, things like mujaja, things like the ginger we have talked about are really great at alleviating your bloatedness or having stomach gas. Even wine and live yogurt are really great because they help to grow good bacteria in your digestive system, and therefore your stomach lining will be much more healthier and you won't struggle so much with some of these things that you can easily avoid. That's it for you, Emily. I hope you find that useful for you. Then we go on to our fourth question coming in from Captain Cool. Captain Cool is asking, he wants to change his body from skinny to muscular. What can he eat? He does exercise, but what can he eat? Shout out to me. Thank you, Captain Cool, for the shout out. Yes, we discussed this. Definitely high protein foods, and also don't forget to take care of your muscles, but also don't forget to give them energy foods, because they need that to grow and utilize the protein that you're feeding them. But what are we learning from his question? Muscle building needs a good level of investment and also a good level of commitment. What does that mean? You need to invest time if you want to have muscles built. You're not going to just work out today and then tomorrow you don't work out and then work out the other day and expect that muscles will crop up. No. You need to be very consistent with yourself. You need to want this so badly and therefore work out for it. Muscle building also requires that you have special foods, like we said, which is the high quality protein foods. So you need to also set aside a budget to make sure that you have enough of these protein foods that you require. For example, whey protein normally is sold as a supplement and may be a little bit more expensive. So that's why I'm saying it needs some level of commitment. You need to want it badly, but you also need to invest in it, both strength-wise, physically, and also financially. And also your mentor must be there. If you're not ready for it, then the mind will, it will not enable your body to actually grow the muscle that you want. And then also, allow me to say this, some of the questions are becoming too repetitive. I'm not saying don't ask, please do ask, but make an effort also to go down to our Facebook page as you ask your question, because sometimes I would have answered it, for example, in just the previous week. And if you see that I've answered your type of question the previous week, please ask another type of question so we don't keep repeating what we are talking about. So our last question comes in from Magala Isaac, who was basically asking, he has been diagnosed with eye allergies and they manifest as deep cream red when they surface. So he was wondering, he was advised to have honey and it helps him but temporarily, and he's wondering if there's any other foods that would help him treat this condition. Well, at least you got a diagnosis, Magala, so thank you so much for that. What we can learn though is, without allergies, if you can identify what the allergen is, then it would go a long way in trying to help us understand, what you need to limit your exposure to. For example, if it's pollen, then you need to limit your exposure to pollen. If it's dust, then you need to limit your exposure to dust. So it helps to understand what the allergen is. But now that you just got a diagnosis and they just said, eye allergies, we also need to understand that we need to keep, why they recommended honey, first of all, is because it's anti-inflammatory. So it fights that inflammation which you see manifesting as red eyes. That means include so many other anti-inflammatory foods in your diet and try and make it a consistent diet. So don't eat may say honey or the other foods we recommended on the Facebook page like turmeric. Don't eat it only when you see the allergy manifesting, but make sure it's a daily routine that you actually include different types of anti-inflammatory foods so that is part of your normal diet, and you might find that it helps you so much to actually treat or actually feel like the allergies have actually been worked on. So keep the anti-inflammatory diet as a consistent thing, in other words. And then because it's natural, it doesn't mean that it's okay for all organs. For example, these are eyes that are delicate, so we need to be very careful how we are dealing with let's say the honey. Some people may think you just pour it in the eyes. No, you need to be really careful, and that's why you need to ask your doctors as well or your nutritionist, how can you use the honey, how can you use the turmeric. But otherwise you can just eat those foods so that it's a consistent diet. Then we go into our third segment, which is the take of the week. And today's take of the week still comes from Magala Isaac. Magala, you're very active today. He's responding to the food meme, which was uploaded on the page during the week. The meme was saying, any meeting without food should be an email. And this was Magala's take. He says, for sure, maybe soda or milk tea. But if it's not that the case, maybe Zoom. So he's telling us if we're not going to have anything to eat on a meeting, then let's just go and have our meeting back on Zoom. I found that interesting. I don't know what you think. Okay, our last segment right now, I leave you with a wellness quote. Our wellness quote today says, I can't control everything in my life, but I can control what I put in my body. So yes, you may not control a stress factor, or you may not control how you were born or genetics, but you can definitely control what you are taking into your body right now. And that means food wise, that means mental wise, that means optical wise, you know, it is really important that you dictate that you eat good foods for yourself, good foods for your body, good foods that nourish your body. So that was it for today. Thank you so much for being with me. Allow me. Now let's talk about how we can connect on our different social media platforms. Firstly, subscribe to the YouTube channel. YouTube channel name is Amanda Twebaze Nutritionist. Then get down to our Facebook. It's also the same name, Amanda Twebaze Nutritionist. When you join those places, you'll not regret it. It's very engaging. Then you can also connect with us also on our WhatsApp enabled number, which is 0782 152610. Again, 0782 152610. We have a food blog as well for the readers out there. It's amandatwebaze.blogspot.com. On Instagram, we are Food Witness. And yes, that's about it. We are also showing on Magic One every single week, every Sunday at 6 p.m. and then the repeat can also be caught every Monday at 10:45 a.m. So be sure to get us on all of those platforms, but subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you so much. Until next time, it's a bye-bye from me. Enjoy your week.